Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Gillet, Noah Harmon, Darren Taylor, Anna Bolbrook, Stephen Chen, the Airborne Toxic Event, and Jon Danovic, who is Jon in there? Okay. Can one of the volunteers go and get an extra stool? I think we're one short.
Unless Jon is not coming.
Jon, you coming?
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, we had a clinic on public speaking with Jon, so I think he's covered. Hi, Jon.
Give me that, Rummy.
So I guess a good way to start would be how did the whole show come about in the first place? I mean, the whole idea of playing at Walt Disney Hall.
Actually, we wanted to play, I wanted to play a venue called the Wiltern in Los Angeles, which is this, it's like Shepherd's Bush Empire or something, just like a big theater that you play. And our manager had received a call from the LA Philharmonic, and they said they wanted us to play, and we were shocked, because that was like real, fucking musicians. And they wanted us to come play Walt Disney Concert Hall, and he's like, he thought it would actually be a much better idea if we played Walt Disney Concert Hall. He had this whole plan. He's like, all right, you're gonna show up. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna play Walt Disney Concert Hall, and it's gonna be great. Okay, stop. That's our manager talks. Here, say something, Pete. I quit. Let's do it. But I think he's like kind of like part of our little family of a band, and he thought it would be better if we did that. And so we just put together this show that involved the community. We're from the east side of LA. There's a lot of like kind of hipstery bands from out there and stuff. And people say they're like, oh yeah, I'm from Silver Lake, man. Yeah, and you're like, dude, you're from Ohio. Like you moved here because your girlfriend's an actress. And we thought what made more sense was to like actually involve musicians from the local community, and that included the girls' choir from La Guerrera School of Music, where Noah was teaching, and the kids from Belmont High School, which were from a block away from Disney Hall. And many of them had never been there. It's one of the most beautiful concert venues in the world, and there are these kids that never didn't even know it existed. And that's just part of the kind of balkanization of Los Angeles, So we felt it was more important to involve people from the local community that were actually artists. So that included ballet, folkloric dancers. LA exports all these ideas about itself that most have to do with Hollywood, but LA is mostly a Latino city. And if you talk to kids that live in the city, it's like 80% Latino. And I grew up there, and Stephen grew up there, and that we didn't feel that just trying to represent Silver Lake or some stupid thing like that really represented the city very well.
Sure. And how did you guys get involved with Jon, and what was the kind of creative process behind the film? I guess did it always set out to be a documentary more than a concert film, or was there ever a temptation to just kind of make it straightforward film?
Oh God! Now we're gonna have to listen to Jon talk. Everyone, get ready. Jon.
Well, the question was, how did you get involved with me?
Yes. How did you get involved with
Let me rephrase. Jon, how did you get involved with that?
I'm so afraid of what's gonna happen.
You want to hold it?
Well,
gosh. It just came about, didn't it?
Jon, you have to talk like a person. Come on, talk like people. They're nice people. They just sat through our entire fucking film.
Actually, it's funny because along the way that this came about, this sentence about how me and Mikkel's friendship was something that sparked this film, and how me and you got along as two people that really liked each other.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it. You know what? No, we're both just insane. And that's what I think it was. Is because actually we didn't really have any kind of friendship. We just started seeing each other, and both had the most awkward conversations in the world, and eventually just somebody put us both in a room together, and we had a camera for it.
Not unlike what's happening right
now.
It's a goddamn accurate description. In sort of a weird way.
Yeah. So he approached us and asked if he could do this documentary about the show, and so we said sure. I think you did a good job, John.
Actually, that is what happened. I remember now.
Yeah.
And then one day, finally, I was like 4 or 5 more bars into it. You were just.
Beers.
Yeah, no beers. Yeah, I was like, so what about like a music video or something? You guys were like, wait, what kind of cameras can we get for that show? I was like, well, what show? And you're like, that Disney thing. We're doing.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know. You told me one day. You're just like, hey, can we do this?
You didn't know we were like, hey, oh, what's interesting?
No, it just happened.
Doesn't it sound super like public radio right now? Like these mics?
It sounds really bassy up here.
It's the low end. It's the low end.
That's an excellent point that you made.
Yeah,
I think the Labour Party is actually quite adrift. Right? Shouldn't it be more rock and roll? Like, yeah, motherfuckers, right?
This is
more like. So I just think that perhaps Labour needs to catch up. I think Conservatives not really a party of ideas anymore, but they get things done.
Next question.
How can we not answer your next question?
Okay, I guess, I mean, like, did you guys, or did the band have much of an involvement with regards to the editing process? I mean, like, no? I mean, was there kind of a, well, John, did you have sorry, John, but did you have a kind of a specific idea of how you wanted the story to pan out over the course of the 80 minutes or hour 40, depending on which version you're watching?
Yeah, but that got changed. No. We went through a bunch of cuts. Actually, we had one cut. I don't know. The first time we actually had a cut was maybe I think show was what, December 4th. Is that what it said?
Right.
And then we took Christmas off, and then we had a cut. I think ready February 1st. And then Mikkel came over, watched it.
You're sounding super public radio right now.
Really?
Yeah. Just listing dates. Like they're like.
We had a cut December 4th. It's a timeline. And then February 1st we.
They don't call it public radio.
Oh right, yeah, you called something
BBC
else.
4.
Sorry, BBC 4. That's public radio in the States, the same kind of thing. It's like. Sorry.
No, I don't know what the question was anyway.
Yeah, I can tell.
We went through a lot of cuts. We went through a lot of changes.
We had a whole other ending where we just failed miserably, but we decided
Yeah.
to can that.
This one where people walk out and booze. Like,
We researched the film, and then audiences responded unfavorably, so we changed it.
And then they had a really strong response to the clapping, so we put that in.
Oh, and then we added the marching
It's
band.
actually from a Dodgers game. I don't know if you follow baseball in the States. Sorry.
But we were talking about outside about one of the other cuts of the film. I was wondering if Noah, you might be willing to talk a little bit about the.
Oh yeah,
The
television
additional-
editing.
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
really, that's a good story.
The real story of
But
the
don't
editing.
do it all like public radio.
The real story of the editing goes like this.
Radio.
Oh, sorry. Do they have morning radio here? Do you guys have the morning radio just yet? That's like BBC 2. That's like 2, right? Radio 2. Oh, that's just regular morning radio. We actually received some legal documentation from Island Def Jam saying that I personally was swearing too much in the movie. So we got.
No, it was like super legalese, and
And
it
it was
said,
legalese.
4 minutes, 12 seconds, no harming, remove, fuck. 4 minutes, 17 seconds, no harming, remove,
Motherfucker.
4 minutes, 25 seconds.
Remove fuck that. So that happened much. All of that is actually available on the DVD, so you can watch those comedic bits of genius. However, PG.
You really don't lack for confidence, do you?
Yeah, I mean, some of those bits were good.
It's a very American trait, you know that?
Yeah, I think that's why
You're
we
in
go over well.
England,
in
people
this
are
movie.
much more self-deprecating here. It's considered stylish. Or,
No, they enjoy it.
do they?
Yeah.
They go, oh, you're so American, you're so
I'll be
confident.
right back with you.
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
No, yeah.
Churchill's a big fan. They love him. And he's
It's
very-
quotable.
Not that saying motherfucker is something Churchill would say. Although, did he? I don't know. I'm not about my Britishies. Next question.
Next question. I guess kind of moving away a little bit from the show. Obviously, you guys have just recently been recording the second album.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you guys are able to talk about that at the moment.
Not at all. No, we can't. I'm kidding.
That's reassuring. But I guess, I mean, essentially, I imagine a lot of people here would want to know when it's going to be released and what we can expect from it.
I don't know.
It's going to be released in the future.
It's probably like next year, early. It's one of those things that you're probably best not talking about too much. You're like we definitely didn't want to retread our first record, and then we didn't try and make a concept record. And I think some of the same ideas from the first record are there in terms of just like who we are as a band. But you're just gonna have to hear it. It's like music. Describing music's like dancing about architecture or something. I mean, we could say pretty much anything, but you'll form your own opinion when you hear it. I will say that we worked very hard on it, and we feel very proud of it. And the producer was kind of a prick.
But do you feel it's kind of a more liberating?
Wow.
Is he here or?
No.
That'd be great if he was in the back.
Everybody right now is in on a really big inside joke, so don't spoil it.
No, he's a very talented prick, though. I will say that.
Fair enough. But do you kind of find it more liberating, given the first album was kind of recorded in a friend's studio, and this time it's kind of done a lot more?
I mean, I don't know, because it's sort of like there's those trappings, like you have lots of time and resources, and maybe you just become some sort of overblown caricature of yourself, so it's like, who cares? At the end of the day, you either write songs that mean something to people or you don't, and that's nothing I could describe. You're either going to hear a song and feel something about it or you're not, so at the end, it was like the process for us was stressful and kind of challenging, and it's sometimes very rewarding, other times very frustrating, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter really. What's going to matter is whether you hear the record and you decide it touches you in some way.
And what is the kind of the typical process of creating an Airborne Toxic Event? I mean, does it start off with just you and
Wrestling.
Like blenders, strawberry daiquiri mix,
Whipped cream.
whipped cream.
Right.
What is the typical process of making an Airborne
Is
Toxic Event song?
Is there a typical process, or does it? Do you guys?
Yeah,
a lot of bands tend to kind of start
there's
with-
two. There's two basic processes, and one, the most typical is I'll like sit up in the middle of the night with some old letter or some old book, and be thinking about something and really, really trying to sort of communicate something in a song that like I felt and I want someone else to feel, and then I'll bring it to the band, and then the five of us who are all very opinionated people will tear it apart, put it back together, try and find an arrangement for it that works, and something that we think brings to light the ideas. So that's one way. The other way is Noah writes a big soundscape, and I use it and write a song.
That's about right. Yeah.
I know, Darren, it's very fucking distracting. I'm sorry, he's a drummer.
It
sounds
like a baby.
Great fucking sound. Wouldn't that be great if all of our heads had different sounds?
Pretty similar.
It's pretty much the same.
Well, but that's the three of us. That's somebody with.
I'm sorry, it's very serious. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple more questions before I throw it out to you guys.
Will you
Yeah.
throw us out?
Before I throw it out to the audience. Can throw you out if you like, but it's no. But I mean, okay. Sorry. So I mean, given that this is kind of a new experience, I guess, like seeing yourselves, like, I mean, do you feel as though like the film's kind of an honest portrayal of what it's like being within the band and playing it as a particularly special show?
I think so. When I first saw the film, I thought it was. Actually, my first reaction was I wanted there to be like more reciprocities, like Greek tragedy, where the mighty fall and the meek become great. And I wanted there to be more sort of plot twists, and I wanted there to be like a love story.
Girls, I think.
Yeah, and like a fight. You know what I mean? Like Sophocles, in the tragedies, that whole idea that like you have to have some sort of like reciprocity in a plot. in a plot, or else it just doesn't work. And I kind of felt like, you know, a lot of my favorite documentaries, there's that moment where people go, I just didn't think it would ever work. And then it cuts to the next scene and it really worked, and everyone's like, yeah, man. And then all of ours was like, I don't know, it's a show. And I kind of thought it was a little sterile at first, to be perfectly honest. And then like when we saw it in the theater, it was really, really unnerving. All the little tics that you have. Well, my experience watching it was like all the little tics that I have where I'm trying to hide, you know, who I am from the world, are just like really fucking obvious in like body language and everything. And I felt very exposed. I don't know if you guys felt that way, but I just was like, wow, it's like really obvious how much I'm trying to hide how fucking neurotic I am. And I felt like a really strong desire to like sink in my chair and, you know, disappear, because it's like you can put on a front to the world, but once you put it on like a 15-foot screen, I think it becomes really obvious to everyone. And then, but then, like, you know, I was really happy about, like, I was sort of like weirded out by how neurotic I seemed, but B, I was really impressed by how good the band was. I was like, wow, they can really play. These guys are good.
I was just like, shit, I need a haircut.
I just thought about how handsome you guys all are.
I was thinking about how nice your dress was.
I love the dress.
I was thinking
Thanks, Sam.
I was thinking about Darren's mustache a lot.
Darren, you haven't said anything yet.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, thank you.
Well, my next question is going to kind of get all of you to answer it, so I'm going to pass the mic around.
It's not very sanitary.
I guess it's kind of one of the things I've always found interesting to ask, you know, bands and like band members is, I mean, what was the first album that you guys ever bought? What was the first gig that you ever went to? Do you feel it's had, well, that those particular things are kind of an embarrassing part of your history, or do you feel as though they've helped you on the road to the band you've become in the long run, I guess? Should we start with Anna? Sorry if I've confused you.
No, you haven't. I'm just trying to remember the name of
Who's the really twiggy? Fiona Apple.
Fiona Apple.
Really?
I think the first live concert was Fiona Apple in high school.
Really?
And I remember the goal of the concert, for me, personally, was to smoke as many cigarettes as possible without my dad finding out. And it was really amazing, but I was kind of, I mean, I grew up listening to classical music and going to classical shows, and you watch someone come out in a fantastic dress, and they come and do this, like, fireworks sort of gymnastic finger exercise for you, and hopefully it moves you, and then you clap politely at the right time, hopefully, if you're smart, and then you leave. And I was really amazed.
Sounds like my first date.
I was really amazed to go to a show where those weren't the rules, you know, and you could smoke as many cigarettes as you could fit in your teenage lungs, and you could, you know, there were some people drinking beer, and there were a lot of people of lots of different ages, especially young people, and I really enjoyed it. So I don't know how that affected me in terms of this stuff. I'd never expected to do this or be here doing something like this with a movie that just played and stuff. And yeah, and I think the first record I actually physically went out and bought was, I can't remember if it was Miles Davis' Kind of Blue or Notorious B.I.G. All About the Benjamins, but it was a tape, and it was awesome.
Let's see. Check 1, 2. Okay. So this is what my voice sounds like. All right. The first album I ever owned was actually also a hardcore rap album. Cypress Hill's First. Oh yeah, the first. I still have that. I still have that CD. No, that's the second one. That's Black Sunday. But music's always been a very important part of my life. Although when I was in my preteens, I really wanted to be an actor, so I was doing a lot of stage plays, stuff like that. As far as the first concert I went to was REM and Sonic Youth in San Francisco, and I think, you know, I wasn't playing music at that point, but I feel like, you know, when the drums finally came to me, it was like, okay, this is the way I need to be on stage, because the acting thing, it just didn't quite work out that way, but I felt really comfortable from the get-go behind the drums. Sorry, get-go, not gecko. And And this has become very strange. I guess it was at that point when I realized that was when I really wanted to play music and be on stage and play for people. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That was like a really complete answer.
I felt like it was actually really incomplete at the end.
Really? Did you feel like it trailed off?
Yeah.
Do I try again?
No.
Okay. The first big record that really affected me in a way that, I remember was, it was actually a compilation record. It was Louder Than Bombs by the Smiths. And I was, I think, 11 years old, and I was living in Salem, Oregon, with my friend, me and my friend Jake were like the awkward misfits in town. And it was at that age before being smart was kind of cool. It's somewhere around 16, people go, wow, being smart means you can make money. Making money is cool. That's cool. But when you're 11, it sucks to be smart because everyone just thinks you're weird. And we were the total outcast misfits. And I heard Louder Than Bombs, and I just remember thinking wow, there's other people in the world who are interesting, smart people, and they do something with it other than feel like losers all the time. And it really it kind of opened my eyes to. It was kind of like an entry point to, music, literature, art. This whole world where suddenly I kind of felt like I didn't have to pretend to be stupid to get along in the world. If that makes any kind of sense. And I really have to apologize. I have to pee so fucking bad right now. I'll be right back, I swear.
I'm really sorry.
Wait, there's a quote right here.
Mine was Thriller Dog.
Is that it? All right.
I got bored
I have
listening to
two
you.
microphones. Yeah.
Speaking of both mic.
All right. I'll speak in both mics. Oh, all right. I guess my first CD was also a hip hop CD. I was I think Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. I was this little 11-year-old kid, and I don't know, I forget why I bought it. I think I just knew that I had it, and then but before that I think I bought a cassette tape. I was born in Taiwan, and I'd taken all these trips to Taiwan with my family, and I think I bought bootleg Wham cassette tapes. So I even had Wham rap, which is it's kind of embarrassing to admit. Yeah, Wham rap. Yeah. My first concert was kind of epic. It was my friend and his dad took me to U2 to a U2 show, and Public Enemy opened, and also the Sugar Cubes, except York hadn't yet become York. And people were actually booing the Sugar Cubes, and they wanted U2 to come on stage. And I think I kind of reacted against that show, and I went to small shows after that, and Pavements or Sonic Youth or Bikini Kill, just small shows in LA, and that was probably had more of an impact than the big stadium U2 show that I saw. Even though I love U2, but it was at the smaller shows where you really get a sense of how you could possibly maybe do this thing.
John, do you want to answer that as well?
When did you first realize you wanted to get involved in music?
I just want to say, I guess that's the fourth time I've been involved in this band in a Q&A where I've been asked a question where it doesn't involve me. What band influenced you into making the music that you make today? Number 2 of 3, Pet Shop Boys, Behavior. Thanks, Britain. And number 3, how far does that mic go? He's back. Never mind. That was going to be really cool if I could have went to the bathroom with the microphone.
Thanks, John.
So does anybody here in the audience have any questions?
I'll start it off. The first person speaks, then everyone gets involved. The dancers at the end of the stage. I don't know whether it's the cut film that we saw, but you had the kids singing on the Missy song, and then you had all those dancers come in. That was the first time you saw them, right? At the end.
They're actually in the intermission. They're a ballet folklorico group from the Plaza de la Raza in East Los Angeles.
Yeah, because I was kind of confused. I was like, they just kind of came.
Yeah, they perform during intermission.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's
Oh, cool.
we had a whole halftime thing that was in the original cut, and we had to cut out some uninteresting stuff, so we decided to cut out the 75 glorious dresses that were just
And the regional Mexican music.
Yeah,
That was
it just wasn't pretty.
specific to each of the regional dances that they actually did.
Yeah, it was just
far more interesting than the show, so we had to
gross.
Great.
So we got rid of it.
the funny looking kid up front.
You didn't have a question?
So what's it like being in a movie?
This guy sounds like he's on the BBC.
Are you like friends with fucking celebrities now?
No. It actually, it was more a humbling experience than anything.
Sorry, I should ask a more intellectual question. Huh? So, from an ontological perspective,
Is that the study of birds?
From an ornithological perspective. Is it ornithology? Does anyone know?
What
You guys are so
the study
fucking
of
British.
birds?
Oh yeah, it's ornithology. Yes, I was just looking at this yesterday. Nobody in America knows what that is. Nobody. I think everybody here was like, oh yeah, ornithology, ornithological. I'm gonna shut up. Sorry. Never mind. I don't have a question. I'm just being a wise ass.
So from an ornithological perspective, does anybody else have any questions? Oh.
The track that you did, the NCIS soundtrack, I Don't Want to Be on TV, how did you get involved with that? Were you asked to do it, or did you kind of go, we like the show, can we be on it, please?
It was actually a B-side that we had recorded a while ago, and I can't remember who was involved. Do you remember who was involved?
Nope.
They put it on the show.
Yeah.
No, I mean we were still kind of like a new band, and they asked us if we would do a song for their TV show, and they're all super rich and everything, and so we figured like if we did a song, maybe we'd get some money out of it or something, but we never saw a dime of that. I mean, it was just like a TV show, and we had a B-side, and that was that. I mean, it was pretty simple. But the song itself, kind of a bit of an aberration for an Airborne song, I thought. Steven?
Oh, yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yes, it was. You were looking at me, and I remember having conversations with you.
You and I were
about the
kind of
song,
like the genesis of that song.
We were,
we were like the ones that were like, hey, let's do this fucked up, stupid song.
Yeah, it was sort of in the song, everyone trades off, and we do these weird sort of like, hey, now Darren's gonna do a thing, and then Noah's gonna do a thing, and we thought we weren't sure if it was gonna work, and then it kind of came together. I think we played it live, and it worked, and so we played it. I don't remember why we stopped playing it. I think we just got edged out, and but I miss it sometimes. I think Darren misses it. Darren always wants. He always plays the opening the drum beat of that song.
Does he miss it?
I don't know. Steven, I feel like you worked really hard for that answer. Come on, come on. What happened when we were working on that song? Remember we were in the studio?
Did you? I don't know. I think we came up with a weird instrumental break. What do you want me to say? We came up with this weird instrumental break, and it didn't fit into a regular sort of song structure. We didn't know what to do with it.
Go on. That's good.
And it was you're making me nervous. I'm getting the wrap it up signal. So yes, that was. It's an old song, but it's a chestnut nonetheless.
We promise. Any other questions up there? Maybe about ornithology. So.
Hiya. Firstly, I'd like to say I think that it was a real good-looking celebration of your music. I think it sounded great. I think it looked really, really good as well. I hadn't actually heard of your stuff before I came tonight, but it was very good to listen to.
Thank you very much.
And for the director, could you comment a little bit on how you go about orchestrating the production in terms of what you shot at the hall itself?
Wow, long answer, short answer. Jesus, orchestrating the production itself?
Well, yeah, like, tell us a little bit about.
Because we shot on the DSLRs and everything, I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the sevens specifically because we wanted a lot of slow motion, which Mikhail thought was really fake looking, so we didn't use any of it.
That's very fucking funny.
So we could have just shot the fives. That would have saved us. But more specifically, what do you mean? Because I mean, like, there's a lot of things there.
I think it means like, you know, talk about like how you pulled it off. I mean, there's like 9 cameras shooting, and then you edited all the like.
Well, I mean,
and
specifically.
then there was just like things in the hall. Like,
No,
I don't actually know the answer. I just remember.
No,
like,
I'm
these
trying to get
were
guidance
problems.
because there's things with the
I
cameras
think that's what it means.
they can't shoot.
Like he wants to
more
know,
than-
like, how did you actually pull off shooting all that with all those cameras?
Well, just tell us a little about the process of putting it all together. It was obviously a multi-cam shoot.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to orchestrate. You've got a lot of people involved. You know, a little bit about how you put together the project.
Yeah, I mean, there were 8 DSLRs running, and I don't know if anybody knows in the audience, the DSLRs can only run for like 12 minutes. Or, sorry, what, Brian? 3? 4, 12 minutes at a time. So there was a lot of like group 1, group 2, group 3, which was the camera that was up in the bend, and didn't have anybody going with it, and they didn't have a headset because there wasn't anybody manning it, so it was like group 1 go, group 2 and go, and it was like fucking trying to get in Disney Hall alone. I mean, like they didn't want us to shoot in there. They were just like, oh, we walked in the first day for the first run through, and they were like, oh, you guys are gonna shoot this. Yeah, we're gonna shoot it, and then it was just a fight for Brian pointed at me and said, that guy with the camera over there. He's like, yeah, that guy taking photographs. Yeah, no, he's let me do this in British. Yeah, that guy taking photographs over there. And he's like, yeah, that guy right there. He's like, fucking no, it's the guy. He's gonna shoot the cameras. And it made total sense to them at that point. In that. We were just these little DSLR cameras, and that's the reason kind of we got into Disney Hall in the first place, is because we couldn't really have a big camera setup. We couldn't have cranes. We couldn't have.
Can you describe how these
seats.
cameras look? Like they look like little,
tiny.
It looked like they were just kind of shooting. Yeah, there was. They looked like little 35mm cameras, but you wouldn't know they were videotaping, which is
there's one. I think from the film where everybody in the audience probably understands, because it's the goddamn horror of the video camera system right now. Every single person in the world is shooting on that camera right now. But you know what? We got one available in Best Buy, so go. I want to say we're the first DSLR actual. That's right. Cross the border.
BBC.
I would say that we might be one of the first DSLR films to actually be in Best Buy or something like that. But I don't want to go ahead and say that because I don't really know. I'd like somebody else to come to me and tell me they've edited a full feature on these cameras, which was completely impossible to actually do, to sync, which, wasn't really represented here well because of the whole panel thing and everything. Thanks, UK again. But seriously, to sync all these 8 cameras up, to get all this footage in there, to not convert it over to Final Cut Pro because Final Cut Pro's balls, and to get all this footage into there to actually make a full feature film out of all this. I'd like to see somebody else actually come to me and say they've done that, because I'd love to talk to them about
And you don't want
pains
to
and
actually
sorrows
fight
that
the
I've
audience.
Somebody take this goddamn microphone.
That's a good answer.
Thank you for that question. I've never seen him talk so much.
I think we have time for one more question. Anybody?
Be careful.
As well. Okay, make it a good one. Oh, 2, 3. This is where it starts. Yeah.
How much, if anything, should we read into the fact that the actual concert footage is colour and the rest of the stuff is black and white? Is that a technical thing, or is that?
I love this question. Should we answer it, or should we go both?
Pleasantville.
Let's start with the director's answer.
Yeah, you first. It's just something I've been doing for a long time, and I wanted to stick it. I've been doing it for a long time. I just wanted to keep a little part of Jon in there. That's it. Honestly.
I think that's a great fucking question, because I think music, so much of, especially here, what you read about music is just rationalization for like why you like the song, and like everyone will say like there's these big stories people write about like this band or that, and what happened here. It doesn't matter unless you like the music first, and like who cares like how a really crappy record came together. Everyone wants to know how a really great record came together, but the point of the whole thing is you got to make a great record. Right, so it's the music that comes first, or the music and color. I think that's a great question, and I think that's my answer.
Well, I just did it because I thought I liked it, and I didn't think it would actually fly in the band and with label and the managers and everything, but why did you guys like it?
Well, for me personally, I don't answer to anybody else. It's you know when you watch The Wizard of Oz, well, you got Pink Floyd. Actually, no, when you just watch The Wizard of Oz, and it goes the color when she goes to whatever outer space land or whatever. So when she goes to Oz.
The Wizard of Outer Space. He's a bass player, people. He plays bass.
I wasn't fishing on that one. So what her real life is devoid of any sort of color and anything like that. So I think in my mind what that says for us is maybe the part that's in color, which is the performance thing, is more what our real life is than when you actually follow us just doing our day-to-day random stuff like getting gas and playing with dogs.
Well, we have no more time for questions, is that right?
I believe so, but guys, thank you very much for
Yeah, thank you all for being here. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, give it up for other cameraman, Steven, on the flip cam. That was awesome.